Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about something called STARI, Southern Tick-Associated Rash Illness. It's a new diagnosis that I have collected, and I'm really not that upset about it because this one is curable, and this one also could be either causing or exacerbating all of my symptoms. There's a chance that it has caused false positives for all of my autoimmune problems and mimics the symptoms of all my autoimmune problems. And once this is cured, I may be okay, actually. Um, that's not set in stone, that's not for sure. I'm not getting my hopes up too high. But even if it doesn't fix everything, then curing the STARI is going to significantly improve my symptoms and significantly improve my life. Um, when I was first told over the phone that my results had came back, I looked up the symptoms and saw that it was closely related to Lyme's disease, which I have considered for myself quite a bit. Um, and I didn't really think that my symptoms fit STARI. On the Wikipedia page, it has this nasty looking rash, and it's really an acute thing. Like, you got bit, you have the rash, and then you get kind of flu-like symptoms, fatigue, muscle pain, and headache. So I blew that off and was having an internal crisis thinking I had Lyme's. But then I did a telehealth appointment with my infectious disease doctor, and he explained my results to me. And the Western blot for Lyme that he did for me showed completely negative for Lyme, but I'm probably going to say something wrong about this because I'm not a doctor, but something about the bands that I did have were consistent with STARI, which comes from the Lone Star tick, which is this little guy right here. Um, and there's no way to tell how long I've had it, but with the way that my symptoms are presenting, it is chronic, so it's been quite a while. I don't know if it was a tick I pulled off of me when I was a kid, or if it was one I didn't even know that I had, or what, but he explained to me that the symptoms when it's chronic are different, and it can cause arthritis, it can cause debilitating fatigue, and it can cause a lot of cognitive and memory impairment, which those three things are my biggest complaints about my health in general, especially the cognitive problems. That's pretty scary to even talk about, think about. I mean, I'd be in the middle of Walmart grocery shopping and forget where I am and what I'm doing. And I'm 23, you can't blame it on age. But when I initially saw this doctor, he assumed that I probably did have some sort of tick illness. And so he started me on doxycycline um, for 2 weeks. And then after the 2 weeks was when I had the follow up appointment with him over the telehealth. And sorry, there's an example of the cognitive problems. I just lost every train of thought. From this point on, the treatment will be for me to continue the doxy up until I'm scheduled to get a PICC line put in. And a PICC line is a permanent IV, essentially. It will go in somewhere around here. Um, the catheter travels up into your heart. Um, you keep it for however long you need. I'll be doing the IV antibiotic treatment at home. The alternative treatment was penicillin orally, which I'm allergic to, so that was a no go. Um, and initially, when he said IV antibiotics, I was thinking a regular IV, and I was like, yeah, that's no problem. And then he said PICC line, and the life kind of drained out of my face. But at this point, I'm willing to do anything if it means that I will feel even 5% better than I feel now. Because my quality of life has just been at ground zero completely. Um, and, if what he said about the debilitating fatigue, the arthritis, the wow, I'm sorry, um, cognitive problems. That's funny that I froze on that word. That should all improve. Maybe it's not going to go away. Maybe it's going to take some time to go away. But I really can't imagine, now that I've gotten so used to life like this, I cannot imagine all of that suddenly going away. So I'm willing to have a tube in my heart coming out of my arm for a month or two. Completely willing. STARI is similar to Lyme's. It took them a long time up until recent recently to really be able to differentiate between them. Um, I don't want to call it like a junior Lyme's because I'm not sure if that's accurate, but from my understanding of the symptoms and what I've been experiencing, it is kind of like a junior Lyme's. But just the thing that's ringing in my mind is this is curable. This has been the first thing I've been diagnosed with that someone has said, hey, there's a treatment, there's an end in sight. And so I am super pumped about that. I'm not sure what antibiotic I'll be getting through IV. I don't know a lot about PICC lines yet. I just know that I am very terrified, not necessarily of the pain, but the psychological idea that I'm going to be walking around with the tube hanging out of my arm that connects to my heart. But yeah, I can look past all that, thinking that maybe there's an end in sight, and it's crossed my mind. I was so blindsided when the doctor called to tell me all of this that I didn't think to ask any of this. But I think that there's a real possibility based on what I've read about um, Lyme disease and how it can affect other test results and cause false positives. I think that there may be a chance that the STARI has caused false positives on all of my autoimmune tests and panels and everything that I've had done. And I'm not going to get my hopes up and think that I'm going to do this treatment and then be a totally normal person again. Um, Even if it is causing false positives, I think it'll take me a while to fully recover because of how set back I am. But just the idea that this is the answer that no one was willing to look for until I went to this doctor. I'm just so pumped about that. And now I'm very afraid to go outside at all, um, considering I do live in Tennessee in the woods, kind of, because I never want this to ever happen again. And I don't even remember being bit by a tick that would have caused this. I'm just rambling at this point, but wanted to give that update. I'm not even going to say a word about coronavirus other than I have not left my house in like 2 weeks. I am high risk. Both of my parents that I live with are high risk. So we're just kind of keeping to ourselves. Minorly stressed, not majorly stressed, but yeah, mainly just hopeful about this new diagnosis and treatment. So wanted to share that all with you all. Um, Thank you for bearing with me as I ramble, and thank you for watching.